Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are advised that the following program contains images of people who have died.
On the 26th of January 1788, the First Fleet arrived in Sydney Cove. Captain Arthur Phillip raised a flag, declaring possession of the land for the British Crown. Among the new arrivals were more than 700 convicts, the first of around 160,000, who would eventually be sent to build penal colonies and endure harsh conditions to win a ticket home or a new life in a new land. Of course, the land they were building on belonged to the hundreds of Aboriginal groups that had been living there for tens of thousands of years. And there were many conflicts as competition for land grew between Indigenous and non-Indigenous. Thousands of Indigenous people were killed by the colonisers, while diseases like smallpox and measles spread and killed thousands more. Over the next few decades, more and more people arrived in the 6 new colonies. Some were convicts, others were free settlers, people who had decided to leave their life in Britain and make a new one in Australia. Then in 1851, Australia struck gold, literally. Hundreds of thousands of people came to Australia from all over the world to try their luck in the newly discovered goldfields. Fast forward to 1901 and Australia was proclaimed a federation and the 6 colonies became one nation. Oh, the NT and ACT came along a few years later. But not everyone was welcome in this new nation. And the very year of federation, the White Australia policy was established, which made it harder for people who weren't from Europe to immigrate to Australia.
Today, migrant ships are bringing new settlers to Australia. New lifeblood for our young country.
After the First and Second World Wars, hundreds of thousands of people immigrated from European countries, helping to build the economy and change the face of the young nation. Eventually, the White Australia policy was scrapped, and over the years people have continued to come here from all over the world, bringing with them their different foods, beliefs and traditions. Meanwhile, Australia's first people faced a long and difficult road to equality. They continued to be treated like outsiders in their own country, removed from their land, forced to work in harsh conditions with little to no pay, while thousands of children were taken away from their families and their homes and placed in missions or foster care. But Indigenous people fought hard for their rights, and there were some big wins. In 1970, Australia marked the bicentenary of Cook's arrival in Australia with massive celebrations. There was a visit from the Queen and a reenactment of the first encounter. Now, 50 years later, Australia is a different place, and many don't see the anniversary as a cause for celebration. Some have questioned whether we should spend so much time and money celebrating an event that brought misery to a lot of people. But others say it's important to mark such a big moment in the country's history, and that while we can't change the past, it's a chance for us to come together and look back at how far we've come in 250 years. And celebrate what makes Australia, well, Australia.